friends, Shawn here with Manley Made Minute, and welcome back to my channel and another episode for the design team on Anthony's Papercraft. Today is going to be probably my last Christmas card for Anthony's Papercraft, and I decided to do his big bulb. I've got this vision. I wanted to kind of do one last Christmas card with his stamps and go kind of a vintage soft vibe. So super easy techniques on this one, nothing fancy, nothing crazy. I just wanted to make this one fun and easy to do because of the stamp itself. I have colored this stamp, watercolored this stamp. I have put shimmer powders on this stamp. Look back at my other videos, you will see a video on this as well as I think some other ornaments that he had. So before we get started and go down to my table cam, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Would love to have you be part of my YouTube family and follow me. Hit that thumbs up if you like the content that I'm giving, and feel free to comment. Any comment, suggestions, things that you may see or do better, would love to hear from you. All that kind of helps the algorithm of the channel. So let's head down, let's get started and make one last Christmas card. And we're going to get out the large round ornament. This is the round ornament. As you can see, it's very detailed. So if you're going to color this, there's a lot of coloring to do. I have broken this down into sections and done some shimmer powders with this, the Perfect Pearls mixed with inks. I think I've done a watercolor of this. So this is a great one to color. But it's also just one with a lot of detail that we can ink smush and make a background and then just put that on the background, right? So I'm getting out my new to me Distress Oxide sprays. We're going soft and kind of vintagey on this one. So I'm using Canson XL watercolor paper. And then for my oxides, I have got antique linen, spun sugar, a little bit of Victorian velvet, possibly a little squeezed lemonade, but I may keep that out. And then just a little bit of scorched timber that we're going to throw into this. So we're going to kind of layer this. And remember with these Distress Oxide sprays, patience is a virtue. Don't start spraying and spraying and spraying and then dry it. You're going to get mud. Layer this in the different colors and stuff to get that layered kind of effect and see these colors pop through. I'm going to start light and work my way up to dark. Then we're going to throw a little shimmer over the top of this at the end, and we'll talk about that when we get there. So I'm going to get out my splatter box. Canson XL water paper has two sides. There's a rough side and a smoother side. I tend to just gravitate towards that textured side. I like that look of it. And so we're going to start on the textured side. I'm going to wet this down, not heavily. I just want to give this kind of a light mist so I get a little surface tension of water on here to work with, okay? Whoops, I did not want to smear what I had in there on here, so let's just wipe that off. I got my fingers on the bottom of my box. So, all right, wet that down. I'm going to start with my antique linen. Now, I've already off camera shook these up pretty good, but they've been sitting here for a few minutes. So make sure you shake these up really good. You want to get all of that product off the bottom where it has settled. So I'm going to start with this and my spun sugar, dry that back, and then we're going to layer it up a few more. So we're going to start, here is the antique linen, and this has got kind of that light khaki kind of feel. And then a little spun sugar. And then I'm going to dry this back. So this is just putting this in my layers. Okay? Dry this back some. Now remember, the more you keep re-wetting this, it's going to reactivate this product. So if I was to wet this over again, it's going to reactivate this and start melting it together. So I'm not completely drying this back. Okay, now I'm just going to do a little bit of Victorian velvet, a little deeper pink in there. And we're going to just go a little more of the antique linen. Slightly dry that back. And I think I'm going to throw just a tiny bit of squeezed lemonade on top of this. Just because I'm going to have that ornament. And we're going to go a little more of my velvet. And I'm kind of digging where that's at. Key to this is know when to stop too. Once you get what you like, don't keep adding to that. It's going to go mucky on you. Settling around the edges a little bit. All right, now I just want a little bit of scorched timber because I'm going to go more of a brown stamp. I'm not gold embossing this. I'm just going with a brown to keep it kind of a antique kind of feel on this. All right, now I don't want very much of this at all. One little spritz and I think I'm good with that. Just enough to give me a little splatter of that scorched timber to rough this up just a little bit. And I'm kind of digging my Victorian velvet, so I'm going to see if I can't just splatter that just a little bit. There we go. Couple splatters on there. Now I'm going to take and lightly splatter this with some gold. And I'm just going to use watercolor gold shimmer. Just to give a little something, because I'm going with a gold background. So I have already heat embossed in gold my greeting from another stamp set. And I'm going to do a little gold splatter to tie that into my greeting, into my background. And then the brown I pulled in from my splatter that I'm going to do on the stamp. Making sure this is really good and dry before I stamp this out. I'm going to stamp this prior to ink splattering it because I do want just a little bit of that ink splatter over that stamp. I'm using Catherine Pooler inks to stamp this, so I want to make sure this is good and dry. It is water reactive as well, so I don't want any bleeding from that ink. Alright, as we're drying this up, I'm going to grab my MISTI. I have preset in my MISTI my stamp and where I'm going to place my card front. And then I'm going to use the Cargo and Macchiato mixed in on my stamp to stamp this out. So, as I said, my last Christmas card for Anthony's Papercraft. I have said this in my other videos. I will say it again here. Let me just get here for you all as I'm drying. So Anthony's Papercraft, January 1st, is going out of business. Anthony is taking things in a different direction with his card making, so he will be doing classes, in-person classes, and I think eventually possibly online. I think he's got some stuff in the works, but I'm not totally sure. So I wish him the best of luck. It has been an absolute pleasure being on his design team. So head on over to his website. He has everything as of the making of this video yesterday. Everything is marked off 50%. I do know that this bulb is still in stock. I just did the teddy bear is in stock. Some of my favorites that you need to check out on these, and they're a great price right now, like $6 or $7 each. The Cardinal is my favorite stamp. It's sitting behind me because I am going to be making a card for somebody else. So this is one of my favorites. Amazing to watercolor. Then the Christmas foliage is so cool, so vintage, so fun to watercolor. And the Chickadee, and then Stacy's Zinnias. Those are my favorites. So you've got to check them out. They are a great price right now. And you could probably get all of these for like less than $50 of my favorites. So I will tell you again, get the Christmas foliage, get yourself a chickadee, get yourself a cardinal, and get yourself Stacy's zinnias. Check out the designer series paper. It is really good and it matches Stacy's zinnias paper and some other stamps. So get yourself some really nice designer series paper. It is strong, durable, and it'll go a long ways. So trust me. All right. We're going to stamp this and we're going to go into my cargo and my macchiato. I'm going to dabble this on so I get a little mixture of both is all I'm doing here. And I'm going to just go all over because the cargo is darker than this. So I'm going to get this coated really good and then dabble that cargo in here. And I just want to soften that down. And try that again, just dabble some in there. I may end up doing this all over. We'll see how this looks. Not sure if it's gonna be dark enough on that. No, we're just gonna do it all over because I like how crisp that cargo is. So it's got a nice dark kind of feel against that. That macchiato isn't showing up on my background, so we're gonna just go all over cargo. All right, nice and crisp on that. I'm going to give this just a teensy bit of gold splatter. And I'm using this little tiny pan set that I got off of Amazon. And I love the gold in here. So we're just going to go a little bit of gold. Put this in my splatter box, and then I'm going to give this a little shimmer over the top. And I'm going to use the Distress Spritz Antique Rose. This is so nice. Little champagne kind of feel. I bought a set of these. Didn't realize this one was in it, but one of my favorites, Amy R. from Prairie Paper and Ink, uses this all the time, and I realized it was in my pack. So I'm so happy to have it and be able to use it. Because she puts it on a lot of stuff. All right, let's get myself just a little tiny bit of splatter because we're going to go shimmer anyway. Just a little bit of gold over the top. Got myself some big ones in there. Okay, and now we're just going to give this a little spritz of that's it. Doesn't take much. You overdo it and it's going to mute it out. So let's just dry this back. And we're going to put our sentiment on and assemble this. And we're going to have ourselves a Christmas card. Three, two, one. All right, I have dried this back. Let me just get nice and close to the camera here so you can see just a really nice kind of a vintage paper kind of feel to this with some tons of shimmer from my gold and from that tattered rose. So see if we can get that color. And I'll show you on the front camera here once we get this assembled. All right, so we're going to put this over top of gold, and then we're going to put my sentiment up on some dimensionals on the middle. So let's just get this assembled and put a little weight on here to kind of flatten that out since that watercolor paper is just curling a little bit on me so that that adheres really nice to my gold. And here's the thing with some of these stamps from Anthony's Papercraft. The more you can look at these with open eyes, you've got lots of possibilities with these stamps. Like I've said, I have watercolored this one. I have shimmer powdered. I have perfect pearls on these. So you've got great options for these. You've just got to be open to technique. Is what I have found is big with some of these, is it just takes a different technique to go over and use these stamps versus a stamp and color it, right? You've got to just look at different techniques that will work. Okay, let's just put this on my card front. And then we'll throw up my sentiment to match. All right, my full card front gold is, I say this in every single video, I do not like anything that goes all the way to the edge, so I go to 5.5 and 4 1/4, and then I go 1/8 inch less on each. So I just have a tiny bit of a white border around the edge. And I'm just gonna, most likely just gonna center this sentiment over that, probably around that string area of the ornament. All right, so I've done Season's Greetings, and actually, you know what, I'm going to give this just a little bit of spritz. So I've just spritzed this just a little bit with that Tattered Rose to get a nice blend between the two. And I better dry that just a little bit before I try to put this down. So I just sprayed it directly, soften that white, give that, you know, little matchy to this. All right, I think we're going to go right over that top of the bulb. And there you have it. A simple, easy card to do. Lots of ink, lots of spraying and texture to this. You could ink smush this, whichever you decide to do. I was just wanting to play with these Oxide sprays and get a nice soft kind of vintage feel. So let's go to the face camera. I'm going to see if I can't get a nice, good, crisp view of this. If I can get that to focus for me. There we go. So you can kind of see just the really soft hues of pink and stuff in there to give it a little vintage kind of Victorian vibe. So there you have it. Thank you so much for hanging with me. I'll put all of the product in the descriptions. I'll put the link to Anthony's Papercraft in the descriptions. Everything's 50% off through the end of the year. So through the 31st, I think January 1, this all closes down and will not be available. So when things are gone, they're gone. I'll put my list of favorites in there for you so you can check those out. You could probably get all your favorites for less than 50 to 75 bucks and get a ton of stamps with that. So thank you so much for hanging with me. And until next time, I'll see you then.